Hello everyone, and welcome to the Executive Commute. My name is Jayson Krause. I'm the founder of Level 52 and the author of The Science Behind Success, what every leader needs to know about mindset, influence, culture, and performance. In this episode, I will expand on our newsletter content where I explore 4 things: what leaders are asking, different ways to think, the laboratory, and a question to ponder. Now, November's here. Basically, every leaf has left the tree, and we're getting into a phase of pause and reflection. Now, if your business is like ours, the opposite of pause and reflection is happening, and it feels like warp speed. So we have to balance the seasonality of our weather and the seasonality of our business cycles to know when it's time to slow down and shed so that we can regenerate. So November is here. Let's jump into this month's content. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast, you already know that through our work, coaching executives, senior leaders, and training leaders at all levels, we get a lot of great questions that leaders ask us. And the questions surround the unique struggles that they face. What we do is we choose one of those questions each month that we think you'll find interesting, and we expand on it. The question in this episode is, how do I inspire loyalty with my employee base when there are a world full of options? I've been hearing this question more and more often from senior leaders lately. And in a world where opportunities are endless, where the next job, the next project, or entrepreneurial venture is simply a click away, how do you inspire the kind of loyalty that gets people to stay and gets people to commit? Now, here's the reality. Loyalty just doesn't happen through perks or even titles. That used to be the method to get people to stay. We'll give you some perks or we'll give you a bump in title. But in today's world, you don't inspire loyalty through simply salary increases or free kombucha in the staff room. True loyalty comes from people aligning their personal mission with the mission of your company. Loyalty is an emotional decision. What's in it for me? Yeah, it's to keep the lights on and the doors open inside my home, to pay the mortgage, etc. But now it's less of a logical decision and it's more emotional. And one reason why we see people leave is because there's often a clash of values between the things that are important to them and what's important to the company. And so as a leader, it's important to be mindful of the values people have and the values that are expressed inside your company. And I'm not talking about the values that are on the wall or on the website, but the observable values that you'd see if you walked onto the street or walked in from out on the street and watched the behaviors, the decisions, and the actions that happen inside the business. Do you want people to stay? Well, help them understand why they're doing the work that they do, what's the impact is. Don't just connect their efforts to the company vision. Connect them to the cause that's greater than themselves. And every organization has a cause that's greater than themselves. It's something we help organizations and executive teams figure out. Your best people aren't just working for you. They're working for the impact their work has on their world. If you want loyalty, don't ask them to be loyal to you. Help them be loyal to the mission that your business is on. Help them be loyal to the cause that they believe in within your mission and your vision. Consider this simple question. What's the difference between where we're going and where we could be going that would inspire true loyalty for you? Think about that. Because that's going to help you answer that question, how you inspire people to stay in a world full of options. It's a big topic, but we're going to jump to the next one. The next topic is what we call different ways to think. All of us make up rules about ourselves, our business, our lives, everything, and those rules serve a purpose. They have a point. But we're also obligated to challenge those rules because they might not make sense anymore. And so this section is inviting you to think differently. Consider it an exercise in thought diversity. And the statement I want you to consider is failing fast is passé. Try failing loudly instead. We've all heard it before. Fail fast. That's the path to success. It's the mantra of every startup and innovation-driven leader in the room inside your business. But here's what they aren't telling you. Failing fast and failing quietly in isolation is a huge waste of opportunity and a lost investment. When you fail fast, but nobody knows about it, you're learning privately. That's valuable for you. But it's also small and it's also timid. And so what I want you to think about is it's time to shift gears to fail loudly. Now, why might I suggest this? Because when you fail loudly, you broadcast your experiment to the people around you, and you create an opportunity for collective learning. There's more value in sharing a public failure, breaking down why it happened, and engaging your team in the reflection process than there is in keeping your missteps a private affair. I did an innovation session recently with a group of leaders who wants to drive innovation. But guess what? Failing is not acceptable inside the business. They get criticized. Their job gets put at risk. And so what do people do? They avoid failure, which is going to keep your business stuck. They're not taking risks to expose themselves. And innovation doesn't happen. So if you are pushing the boundaries in your business, you are going to fail. Now, there are failures that aren't acceptable, the easy stuff, the missed stuff because people aren't paying attention. They're not committing to quality. And then there's the failures that work. What are the big swings you take, the chances, the big experiments? These are important learnings. And so the next time you or the people on your team fail at something, hold a team meeting to celebrate it and dissect it. Walk through the failure together, not as an autopsy, but as a critical exploration in your business. Let people chime in and challenge assumptions. Ask, how could we have done this better together? Or another great question that I love is, what would have had to be true in order for this not to fail? You let people be a part of the growth of the business, and in the process, you'll turn a failure into a community building and community learning event because it signals to the people in the space and in your organization that learning is more important than looking good. It encourages boldness, creativity, and a greater sense of contribution. When was the last time you failed loudly, if ever? Well, this is your month and your time to do it. I want you to take a big risk. I want you to conduct an experiment. And if it's the right one, you're going to fail. You're not going to get it right. And what I want you to do is to fail loudly, capture the learning, because that's going to help you take the next big step. And when you do it, tag me on LinkedIn. I want to know. Okay, next we've got the laboratory. This is where I share experiments. We're undertaking experiments clients are taking, just things that we think are worth you considering whether or not it's a good experiment for you. And so this month in the Level 52 laboratory, we're experimenting with amplifying decisions with ChatGPT. Now, you are probably like many people in this world and you're fully into the game of ChatGPT. But are you using AI as a decision amplifier? And here's what I mean. ChatGPT isn't just for creating images through DALL-E or making great travel itineraries or even answering questions that you have. We're experimenting, and also our clients, around how do we use it to amplify the decision-making process. And so this means running decisions through the lens of AI, asking it to counter some of the choices or offer contrarian perspectives, even identify potential blind spots that might be missing. Here's the wild part. By having a digital devil's advocate in the room, you get sharper insights and you start seeing risks that you haven't considered. Several of our clients are beginning to use it in this way as well, but they're also beginning to build their own GPTs for very specific items to help streamline work and build efficiency. I'm talking about hundreds of GPTs they built inside the business for different departments, different functions, etc. But consider regular old GPT as an extra board member or executive. What's the advice it would give you? Imagine you're about to approve a new initiative, and instead of running it just through your executive team, run it through AI first. Ask it to predict future failure points, suggest alternate strategies, or provide new angles. AI's lack of bias and its data-driven brain can catch what your human team might miss, and so it could be a valuable exercise. Whatever it is, give it a spin. Get your digital devil's advocate into play to see how it can help amplify the decision-making inside your team or inside your business. Let me know how it works. Now we've got a question to ponder. This is one of my favorite parts. Surprise, surprise, as an executive coach, I love big questions that make you pause and think. Reflection is a master skill for meaningful leaders, and there are things that really have us pause and reflect. And so the questions we share in these are an invitation to see yourself and your world in a different light so that you can choose consciously. Here's the question that I want you to ponder. What are you pretending not to know? Every leader has blind spots, but the most dangerous ones aren't the things you don't know, it's the things you pretend not to know. The unacceptable behavior by a team member who delivers results in the business, you pretend not to know the impact, but you know what it is. The employee that doesn't fit their role, but you're really committed to making it work, you're pretending not to know that it won't work. The client that isn't worth it, they cause agony, but you want the revenue, you're pretending it's not a big deal. Or the business strategy that you committed to a long time ago that just isn't working anymore, but you're too committed to back away from it. We pretend not to know because sometimes admitting the truth means to stepping into a level of comfort that we don't want to look at. It means rethinking long-held beliefs, admitting we're wrong, rethinking relationships. It means acting on something that is going to disrupt your status quo and force you to engage differently in your business and your world. But the longer you ignore it, the bigger it gets. So start today simply by naming it, by putting a spotlight on the uncomfortable truth that's lurking in the shadows inside the business. This itself is a simple yet significant step. Just name it. I think I'm pretending not to know that this is a bigger issue. And if you've got a trusted advisor, naming that can help you unpack it in the most productive way. But once you name it, then simply decide, what are you going to do with that information? Leadership is stepping into the fire, and pretending doesn't serve anyone. Pretending just simply leads to disastrous atrophy in your ability to lead and your organization's ability to create value. Okay, by the way, ALPX, a mastermind of ALP alumni. Highly driven learners become highly effective leaders. And if you're an alumni of our Accelerated Leader Program, we've got an incredible program coming your way in early 2025. It's by application only. And once you're in, you're going to join a team of 4 or 5 other Accelerated Leader Program alumni to create a personal board of directors. Consider this a group of people who are ruthlessly committed to one another's growth and also committed to practicing the tools and strategies from the Accelerated Leader Program. There are so many great things about this program, including additional advanced learning sessions, live sessions led by me. So if you have been through the program, make sure you take a look at ALPX and make sure you apply. If you thought the ALP was transformational, then this is going to stretch you into that next level. Take a look at that program. We've also got a webinar coming up in December, some of the key skills and tools leaders need in 2025. Keep an eye out for that. If you don't, make sure that you follow Level 52 on LinkedIn, and your job is to make November meaningful. And I can't wait to see you back in December.